Dog. Okay, so today I'd like to talk about, what do I want to talk about today? Chasing happiness. That's what I want to talk about. When you were young, what were you, when somebody asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? What did you say? I think a lot of people say, like, I want to be a cop or a fireman or lawyer or doctor or whatever, astronaut, right? I wanted to be, and for the longest time have always wanted to be, when I grow up, happy. What did that say about my childhood? I don't know. Probably nothing great. I don't think it really is anything that bad, but this was more of a, I think, a statement on the culture I grew up in, right? And I think a lot of us grow up in, of always chasing success, the next thing, the next step, the thing that's going to make us feel better, more fulfilled, happier, etc., etc. 34 now, and I think about 32 years of my life that was the case. And something hit me pretty suddenly where I realized that it's not about being happy. Life doesn't seem to be about just being happy. It seems to be about, to me, kind of just being good at whatever it is that makes you you, and consistent, and hopefully of benefit to others as well. That's it. Like, that's pretty much it. That's where I'm at. Point of life. Bing, boom, bang, whatever the saying is, right? Bada bing, bada boom, that thing. I don't know. It takes the edge off to stop chasing happy, to try to be in the moment more, to kind of accept more of what is, and stop having these lofty ideals and goals. And I'm not saying I don't have them. I'm not saying I'm not trying to set goals and achieve things in my life anymore. In fact, I think I'm doing more and being more successful in a lot of ways now that I've tried to kind of let go of these kind of strict ideals of what would make me happy. Kind of going with what is, and the things that are making me feel content, and kind of losing myself to just living, right? So the things that I do in my work, and the friendships and the relationships that I have, it's really framing up now to be more about, like, what are the long-term decisions and behaviors and relationships I can live with and be ultimately content and feel fine and probably pretty overall positive about, with regard to those things I just mentioned, those behaviors, the relationships, those sort of things. And right now in my life, I'm pretty okay. There are things that I feel like, oh, what's a shiny object? I want that. Like a new Apple device or something. Or, should I move to a new apartment or a new place or something? Cool. It's interesting, new novel idea. Would love to consider things like that. And then where I would normally get swept away with, like, an emotional thinking, and try to go ask a billion different people what they think about it so I can kind of figure out what I actually think about it. It's more like I can have the fantasy, have the thoughts, kind of rationalize it a bit one way or the other, and just kind of settle on, well, okay, I'll come back to that. And if it comes back to me, great, then maybe it happens. And if it keeps coming back to me, it probably will. And it become part of more of my routine and my more deeper thinking and my logic and my rationale of how I decide to do things in my day-to-day life. So if I do decide that I want a nice shiny Apple product instead of emotionally uh, deciding, and irrationally going out and purchasing it, and going yay and having a fleeting like 2 days of exciting new thing, and then okay, I'm done with this thing. It's more of a okay, let me hash this out in my own brain. Let me think about this. Let me be with this in the moment here and actually feel through the feels and think about what it'd be like if I did have it, and not think about what it'd be like without it. Pretty much the same. Okay, don't need it. It was a want. Now I don't really want it. Interesting. And if it pops back in my head again a week or two later because there's a purpose or there's a reason that actually makes sense logically, like, oh, this iPad, let's say, has new features that'll be much better than my 5-year-old one that I have now, and I can actually use it for business and blah, 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 blah. Cool. Great. Doesn't mean I go buy it yet. I hang on to it. And then if the kind of life scenarios pan out where it sort of outweighs that I should probably just bite the bullet and go get the darn thing, then maybe I do that. And even so, probably weigh in other factors like, can I afford it? Should I right now? Those sort of things. And that's a consumer thing. But then on like life side, like what? Squeaky chair. And then on the life side, like what sort of things should I do? Like where do I want to live? What sort of jobs do I want to be taking on? What kind of projects will I be happy working with? Where do I want to be in a few years from now? Where I want to be 5, 10, 15 years from now? I don't know. I have ideas on it, but there's no one particular path. And that's a lot more freeing than having one or two plans of how things should play out. A lot less stressful to kind of accept how things are going and seeing where it grows anyway. Opportunities happen along the way, and I feel like if I were to plan too much, otherwise, those opportunities might be missed. So chasing happiness or success or plans or the next steps, whatever that may be, chasing it rapidly and having tunnel vision on that plan or goal or objective, I think it kind of sets us up for hurt and disappointment and a sense of like basically cognitive dissonance, where we're thinking, I want this, I don't want this, I have this, but I don't want it, I don't have this, but I want it. Like there's a lot of this like expectation and desire, and there's a lot of this reality stuff, and the difference, there's a gap, the chasm between it causes anxiety for me, and I imagine others as well. And too much anxiety of not being able to achieve or fulfill or to whatever it is, to realize whatever those fantasies or those mental ideals are, it causes too much anxiety, which will lead me to depression and really bad dark places. And with the anxiety and depression, I start making even worse irrational decisions that are not based on reality. They're based on even more abstracted ideals. So for me, I've learned that I have to stop chasing happy and allow happiness to be, instead of a high, and my depression being a low, kind of round out these peaks and valleys so they're more rounded and kind of somewhere in the middle here, and being really content in a positive way and having consistent joy with what's actually happening in life. So if anybody out there ever has problems with anxiety and depression, I would recommend, one, it helped me to talk to a therapist, but two, to try to be more mindful if you're somebody who's usually in your head. Be more mindful of the reality of the moment. So not so much thinking about the moment, but literally experiencing what's happening and making more real-time decisions and using objective logic of whatever sort based on your own personal subjective experience that's happening in the moment as best you can. It'll never be real-time and perfect and real of 100% objective, but you can at least strive to, there we go with striving, right? You can at least practice being more mindful of the moment and physically aware of what's happening and make decisions based on that. And I think with practice, as it's worked out for me, you gain more confidence in doing that, and you have less of a neurotic need to anticipate and plan and overplan and conceptualize in your mind how things are going to play out. And that takes you out of ideal mental fantasy land and brings you out of the abstractions closer to reality. And I think with the reality, you're more grounded and centered and all that good stuff. So I would highly recommend being more mindful, trying some of those mindful apps that are out there. Headspace is a good one. Calm is another one. Yeah, that's that. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Chasing happy, and what I wanted to be when I grew up. I feel pretty good. I feel generally happy. I don't like using that term actually very much, unless it's a momentary happiness that is more of a high joy. I'll consider that happy, just like being mad is not like a permanent state. I don't think happiness is a permanent state either. I think these are moments, these are emotions that we have, experiences that we go through, but the experience and the emotion moves on. This too shall pass is a quote that I hear from someone close to my life pretty regularly, and it starts to make sense now. And that meaning, what we're left with when that passes is a more natural, real experience and sense of self and state to be in. It's a place for me to strive to stay in, and I feel a lot more calm, a lot less anxiety, a lot less depression because of these things. So yeah, that's my take on chasing happy. Don't chase it, just be it. That's it. Okay. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them down below, and I'll respond to all of them, I'm sure, or most of them. Please subscribe if you're interested in this stuff, and I'd love to hear from you guys on any other topics you want me to chat about. All right, thanks guys. Talk to you soon.